Hey, hey, what's up, friends? Welcome to the stream. Hey, for those just joining us, I'm Dr. Joe, and today we're going to dive into something that's going to revolutionize, I think, how you think about bouncing back from, let's just be honest, one of the most challenging academic years any of us have ever experienced. Yeah, I know this year has been tough. Um, do we need to just stack them up? Budget cuts, enrollment challenges, staff turnover, funky politics, student mental health crises, maybe falling trust across your community. The list goes on. But what I want you to understand today is these challenges haven't disqualified you from greatness. They're actually preparing you for the next level of impact. I want you to renew your mind today. It's 12 o'clock Central, a time many of us are pulling up and eating some lunch to refuel, right? Today, we're talking about renewal, not just recovery, not just getting back to where you were, not just bouncing back like the rubber ball. I'm talking about something altogether different, right? Where we become stronger when we're dropped, when we endure challenges and struggle. Um, yeah, what is it? What is it that is in some of us that causes that renewal to say, I get stronger through the challenges, right? That's transformation. It totally is transfer. It's not about returning to normal, right? There's no such thing as, I don't know, normal is so average and just so meh. It's about creating new norms that are far more powerful than anything you've ever experienced before. Many of you know me as the cancel average guy, and I just loathe anything average. I walk through airports and I just see people kind of slouched over and just kind of shuffling along and going or listening to, well, I only got a couple of years left and then I get to, you know, take this job and are you kidding me? We're placed. Many of you would use the word called into these places to make a difference, and making a difference comes fully equipped with the struggle, right? I'm passionate about this because I've watched way too many people, incredible humans, just burning out, checking out, settling, right? Oh, can't wait. I got 30, get 2 more years and I hit my 30-year mark for whatever retirement system. Yeah, that's not what you're designed for. You're not designed for a 30-point system and to check out. You know that. You didn't get into leadership to just maintain the status quo. You got into it because you believed in transformation in students, in your staff, in your communities, in culture itself. And wouldn't you like agree with me that the world could use a ton of transformation right now? What we've endured through has to have some return on the investment. I have this thing called hope, and I hope that you haven't lost yours. So lean in. What you're about to learn could be the difference between kind of limping through the next few months or launching into something that's going to be your most impactful season of your leadership career. So let's embrace this thing called renewal together, right? Let's start with the truth that every campus leader in this stream knows intimately. This year has been, it's just pushed us to our absolute limits. The research is crazy clear. It's hard to read, right? It's alarming. According to 2025 study from the American Council on Education, I'm looking at the report right here. 73% of campus administrators report experiencing severe burnout systems. Yeah, 73%. Another 45% considering leaving their position entirely. Like, I'm going to leave one night and I might not come back. We're facing an exodus, folks, of experienced leaders, many of them just the right people, right? But burning out. Okay, moving from weary to wary. And those two words are different. Look them up. Here's what's happening. Um, just overwhelm trap between crisis management and budget constraints and all that's going on, just adapting to all the new challenges. Many leaders are reporting feeling like they've just been in reactive mode, whack a mole, right? Lots of studies showing that average campus administrators, they're making way more decisions per day than they ever did years ago, right? And the most important thing, listen to this, I think the most important thing that differentiates the best leaders from all of the rest of the noise out there that might have a leadership plaque on their office door, um, is the one thing, is the one thing, making great decisions. And I tell you what, when you're in the overwhelm trap, you don't make great decisions. You make decisions based upon your back foot, leading from your back foot of more fear and scarcity than anything else, right? We need to be intensely creative in these times and innovative in these times. It's in your mission statement, but if it's not in you, yeah, renewal, folks. That's why we're talking about renewal. The isolation effect is also a real thing for campus leaders. It can be profoundly lonely, especially during just crisis seasons, because that level of complexity and accountability that you wear, most people don't truly understand it. And I'm just going to be honest and real and probably have many of you clicking me off here for a minute. If you're in a shared governance uh, college environment or campus environment, um, there's there's nobody within that arena of sharing governance that truly understands your complexities if you're the boss and your level of accountability, because that's where the buck stops, and it can get really lonely. You're carrying a heavy weight of institutional concerns, while maybe some that sit at the table can step away from that table and not bear that same weight. So let's get really real about the decision making process, boss. You got to make great decisions. That is what you're called to do. If it's helpful to have loads and loads of people and committees and councils helping you to do that, I think the don't get me wrong, I think the advisory capacity there is incredibly brilliant. Um, but if you're just stuck on a cul-de-sac, yeah, where decisions are not being made because of the process time that it takes to make a decision, please renew your mind, renew your system, renew your intentionality, right? Realizing that, yeah, back to isolation, community is everything. And just that purpose drift as well. Back to, making decisions based upon a lot of preferences these days. Well, I don't like it because, and everybody has a chance to kind of weigh in, and every opinion seems to have the same equal weighting. Yeah, how do you maintain purpose? How do you maintain principles? Right? When you're constantly firefighting, it's easy to lose sight of why you chose this calling in the first place. My goodness. My guess is 80% of the things on your schedule recently have been the things that you had to do, not the things that you got to do. Maybe that's an exaggeration, right? But many leaders are reporting feeling disconnected from their original vision and passion that brought them into the role in the first place. But here's what I really need you to understand: you're not broken because you're feeling burned out. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not failing. You're experiencing just the natural human response to extraordinary, because they are extraordinary, beyond the ordinary. Hopefully, this is a season. It's a season. It's not a sentence. Like, it's circumstantial, right? And more importantly, you are designed for renewal. I am designed for renewal. We all are, right? I love just these heroic stories like Winfrey. Yeah, she kind of fell on her face, right? Decades of unprecedented success in her talk shows. The network struggled with low ratings, and she had tons of financial losses and loads of people just chirping from the cheap seats of criticism, and media outlets started to call it her first major failure. Well, Oprah went into renewal mode, right? Instead of retreating, she stepped back from the day-to-day operations. She invested deeply in learning again about the television industry, right? Some of us can just kind of get by with, a charismatic personality type, but we don't really have the competence to understand how everything works. She went deep, intensely into that, and most importantly, reconnected with her own core purpose. And yeah, the rest is history. She owns one of the most successful cable networks, and that would not have happened unless she kind of had the slats kicked out from underneath her. So, isn't it good to know that some of the greatest celebrities that are known, right, have all experienced struggle and setbacks. So, yeah, how about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, give me a sense. How burned out are you feeling as we end this academic year? Many of you have already had commencement, and maybe you've had a chance to kind of disappear into the woods and have your own renewal session. But what's the biggest challenge that's just been draining your energy and your passion? Not recently, but collectively over the course of this last academic year. And honestly, when was the last time you truly felt excited about your role? Yeah. If you're bold, go ahead and drop your answers. There's a little function down there, comment section. Let's get honest. My my guess is if you're honest, other people will want to be honest as well. So, speaking of renewal, let's talk about team, because individual renewal is powerful. Yeah, it's good. But team renewal, we're talking great, where the collection, right, of brilliant individuals are coming together into a place where I believe your most important decisions are made is within the team construct, right? This is where transformation is. It has the condition, right, to transform and to be revolutionary when you have the right people at the table. I want to introduce you to this concept, this tool that we've built. TQ, we're calling it cute. Team intelligence. You've heard of IQ and EQ. Here's TQ. How smart is your team? When all of your folks come together, how do you assess the level of smarts of the overall team? It's a breakthrough tool, actually, that it's revealing exactly how your leadership team can leverage that cognitive diversity. That's the level of diversity nobody's talking about these days, right? For exponential impact. Just 5 minutes per team member, you'll discover your team's hidden strengths and perhaps maybe some blind spots, and why brilliant individuals sometimes struggle to execute together. Why does that happen? You bring some of the smartest. You think of what it took to land the job for, CEO, president role, VP roles, dean role. How difficult it is to actually just get through all those filters. But when it comes together, why does it sometimes underperform? It just blows me away, right? But also the specific communication protocols, because that's really what it boils down to. The health of your team, much of it, I think that one of the vital organs, if you will, across teams is just your ability to communicate well with each other. So, yeah, this tool has ways to pinpoint communication protocols that unlock your team's full potential. So you can take the TQ assessment. It's still in development until June, but hey, if you email, just a special little thing for you, if you email us at info at higherperformancegroup.com and mention free team assessment, we'll put you on the priority list and keep this instrument absolutely free for you and your team. Be the first to sign up. Yeah, I'm hoping by Friday we have this thing ready to roll. So we'll get you, give you a chance to test drive it right out of the gate. So let's talk back to our regularly scheduled program, right? Renewal, first pillar. Um, just this inner restoration. It's where transformation must begin. It's not going to come from the outside. It must really come from the inside. And I think it's identifying how one needs to recalibrate. Mhm. So, research from Stanford, um, it shows when leaders reconnect with their core identity and values. If you don't know what your identity is, if you don't know what your values are, this is going to be a hard protocol. But if you do, research says that there's something that happens just with the stress hormone and the decrease of that by up to 40%. That's the bad stuff in the blood, that cortisol, within just 2 weeks, if you're connected to who you are and why you are. Folks, really important questions, right? You are not your failures. That's not your identity. You're not your budget shortfalls. You're not the arguments that are happening at your board meetings, right? On your most difficult days. Yeah, you're a leader called to transform systems and perhaps even be a part of the transformation process for people and communities. And that calling hasn't changed because of the external locus of control, these external circumstances. So your identity. The other is just that narrative reframing and how important that is. Um, call it mindset if you will, but cognitive neuroscience, it reveals that our stories that we tell ourselves, the experiences, literally, it rewires the brain. So instead of seeing our challenges year after year of evidence of your inadequate, right? We can do that so quickly. What if it was actually evidence of your resilience, right? What if every crisis that you've navigated has been building your capacity for greater impact? As an athlete back in the day, and I still like to call myself an athlete today, it's just different outlets, right? But I had to break things down, right? I had to, just tear it apart in order for the body to become stronger and have more endurance and more flexibility. It was hard work so that I could show up and perform at the highest levels, right? You can't do that without kind of reframing. The last one is just purpose reconnection. There's a ton of research out there that speaks to having a very objective purpose to your life. I call it worthy work. What do you get up to do every morning? If you don't have worthy work, we see what happens after retirement. The data is very, very clear. The mortality rates skyrocket after it's something like 2 years after you retire, you're dead. Yeah, have a nice day. How about that? No, it's reconnecting to purpose. I don't believe in retirement. I think it's really a selfish thing. We get up every morning and we have worthy work to do, whether you're 16 or you're 86, right? So let's continue to get after that purpose reconnection. Your inner world, it's not damaged. I think it's being redefined. Like like gold, right? Under fire and under pressure, it creates this purity and a strength and a value that you never, absolutely just never knew that you had. So, yeah, lots of other examples. But let me ask, what story have you been telling yourself about this challenging past year that might need to be reframed? Where has that struggle or challenge, where could you reframe that into your resilience training, right? And what's one core value that's just been hard to hold on to during this difficult season? If you're slogging away in the office more hours to just try to stay on top of things and your core value is family, right? Or staying to an exercise program. What's one core value that's been really, really hard to hold on to during this difficult season? And be honest about it. And how can you reclaim that as part of your just being a renewal champion for yourself? And lastly, how might your struggles this year actually be preparing you for, guess what? Next year, you're going to be called into something that's going to really, really test you, your ability to lead through hard situations. But you might be able to look back and go, now I understand why I didn't have an extremely comfortable 2024-25. It was to prepare me, right? So hit those comments. I'd love to see some of your breakthrough thinking start to show up. Feel free, share away. Let's talk about renewal pillar number 2, just that relational renewal, just rebuilding connections that fuel sustainable leadership and create thriving campus communities. I think back to IQ, EQ. I think EQ is a new commodity for doing anything. It's no longer, I tell you what's happening with AI, arguably I don't need to be that smart anymore because the information is out there. We've got to have a ton of judgment in terms of filtering in and out, what's real and what's not. But wow, it's just incredible, the IQ potency that's out in the ether right now that we can use. But if we don't have the ability to connect that information through relationship, meh, yeah, you're just another barking dog in my world, right? You can't lead from isolation. We know that. The research is crystal clear. Relational health is the strongest predictor of leadership longevity and effectiveness. I love watching those that never got into leadership because they saw the posting and said, I want that position. I love hearing stories about the leader that was doing really good work on the ground floor, right? As a staff member, as a faculty member, as a teacher, and maybe called up to be leading as a teacher leader or faculty leader, chair, but never really desired the lead position within the organization, but just kept getting pulled up. Hey, we need you up here. And then they do that for a while and just find great traction and great people look to those that have incredible character. People look to those that have incredible competence and credibility, and they just keep saying, we've got a position up here and we need you. So they kind of get drugged all the way to the front office. We all know that, you know, examples of who those people are. Um, and what they all have in common, all of them, it's causal. They all have the ability to just forge authentic relationships because they never kind of like overpowered or disempowered people to get to where they needed or didn't want to go, right? To get to where they were called to go. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So it's maybe trust rebuilding. After a challenging season, relationships often need some repair, intentional repair. I love the one-on-one discussions, especially in the onboarding process, where you're just real honest with the person that you're going to be working with laterally or maybe in a supervisory position to ask the question, hey, when things go off the rails, because they will, let's just be honest. How do we repair that? Fantastic onboarding question, right? When things go off the rails, trust is really important to me. In fact, it's a core value. How are we going to restore that? And to be able to talk through, well, here's what I'm going to commit to. Here's what I'm going to commit to. It's a beautiful thing when it's that overt, and just realizing that conflict is going to happen. It doesn't mean that bad things are happening. It's just things are always happening, right? That's just the reality. So not only trust rebuilding, but also maybe that support network. And how do you expand? How do you expand that support network? There's loads of studies out there that leaders with diverse support networks, right? Not like attracts like, where you go find your people that you just love hanging out with. No, it's maybe even finding people you don't like too much, but just those diverse support networks. They're actually 5 times more likely to navigate crises successfully. You need peer relationships. You need mentoring. You need advisory support, and you need relationships where you can be quite vulnerable, right? About your own growth and going, "Huh, I got to act like I'm there, but folks, I'm not there. When I'm outside of this huddle, uh, I got to act like I'm there. But inside the huddle, let's be honest and rumble through. I'm wobbly right now. So, expanding those support networks, and how might you go about that over the course of the next maybe 60 days? Um, I think, yeah, there are a lot of wonderful tools out there, but yeah, just go out and use your sneaker net and just get out there and break some bread with some people and just reinvest by maybe giving before receiving. Yeah. The last is just team re-engagement. If this has been a year of crisis, team dynamics, they're going to require just intentional cultivation. Um, Large bodies of research out there that talk about just the difficult experiences together when you establish a shared vision again after the trials. uh, there's up to 73% is what I've seen in the research, higher engagement than teams that simply, hey, we're just moving on. No, we're going to sit down, we're going to do a, I remember having after action reviews. We didn't call it that. Postvention, perhaps, not prevention, but postvention with somebody that's facilitating all the hard things that you've kind of just slogged through and being able to talk about it. And then reestablishing vision to go, all right, here's where we're heading. Let's lock arms. And we're not just moving on, we're moving up. We're moving up. So I think the relationships that you build or rebuild this summer will determine your effectiveness for next year, period. If we just like ended right now, and maybe I'm not going to stack much more here because we're getting close to the end of the time, but I think the relationship piece, and half of the world's population, they thrive in this space. So what's the other, what's the question you might be asking? What about the other half, right? The other half have to act, I think, work a little bit harder at the relationship because the task can sometimes supersede just that power of relationship. So regardless of where you sit on that side of the dichotomy, it's not an excuse to say, well, I'm not really that relationship guy or gal. That's not an excuse. We must build trust. We must be able to work through healthy conflict. We must be able to bring people into a vision and this collective commitment that says, here's where we're going together, and we're in this together, and I got your back. And all of those things, I think, come from just the power of relationships, right? Lots more that I really would love to share, but I want you to just take a moment and imagine what your campus could become if you fully embraced this thing called renewal. And that's not taking a long weekend. It's more of a lifestyle. I often kind of laugh at, oh, I can't wait for spring break because I'm going to get a chance to kind of renew myself. Uh, and most come back, and the rubber band goes exactly back to the position that you held, before you took off on your fancy vacation. It's really, I think it's our renewal during the work time, not just the renewal during your holiday time. How we behave, or the mindsets that we have in place during the work week, they're the most important things, because crashing on the couch, that's not renewal. So we've got to establish these practices and patterns that are likely to work on a Tuesday morning and a Wednesday afternoon, right? I think each of these pillars of renewal that we've talked about, it's powerful on its own. But when they work together, just this inner restoration, relational renewal happens, that visionary expansion happens. And so I don't want you just to agree to this. I want you to actually do something about it. So, how about a retreat? Not a long one. I'm heading across the pond next week, just for a week, and really excited about that. But I'm thinking maybe a couple of days. Block out 2 days this summer for just some intentional renewal, to address those systematic things, those relational pieces in your life, the new vision, the identity piece for you. The research is clear. It shows that intensive renewal, those periods of time where you can intensely focus, and maybe you want to have somebody come in as a listener, somebody that maybe push you along and nudge you along. Those are the types of things that create lasting change, when they are combined with ongoing practices. And also when you have renewal accountability. So maybe identify a couple of days and another campus leader who will also commit to renewal, with you. Maybe meet monthly or bi-monthly. That's a silly word, isn't it? Has two meanings. Bi-monthly. Maybe a couple of times a month, right? Throughout the academic year to share your progress. Don't make it just a one-off event for these 2 days. Find an accountability partner who's going to support and challenge you along the way, and then put together an implementation plan. As a campus leader, you can have this incredible vision that speaks just beautiful terms. But if you don't have an operational plan to make it happen, uh, it's not going to happen, right? So create a specific measurable goal for each of those renewal, intentions that you're cooking up there, boss. That inner restoration through daily practices and the relational renewal, and how that's all going to come together through a just an offensive game plan. Here's how you're going to move it forward. So I think that the truth is powerfully simple, and this has been just kind of a simple little stream today. The challenging year, it doesn't disqualify you from greatness. So please hear that. I think it has prepared you. The science confirms that we can become stronger through hardship, and maybe your experiences do validate that. And folks, your campus needs it. They need you to come back as the healthiest person on campus, starting in the fall. So, what do you need to do? What do you need to do over these next few months? Don't just watch this and nod. Please take action. Um, yeah. Remember, today is not just the end of a difficult year. If you're like many, month of May is the closure to all academic activity, but it can be day one of your renewal. So when is that day one going to be? Don't just become a habitual construct. Many of us by the age of 45 just become what it is that will be for the next 30 years or so. Yeah. Renew the mind. Become that new. I was a new Joe today, and that's the most beautiful thing of life, isn't it? The ability to choose between stimulus and response. I hope you were encouraged today, folks. I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in the power of renewal, that's available to you actually right now. So, peace.